Hi, welcome to Address Bali, where we dive into the real story of the building apartments in Island of God. Welcome, Faisal.
Hi, so I'm here with my partner in crime to show you that Bali construction isn't all sunshine, palm trees, walking barefoot, and really living your dream.
Well, Faisal, look, the people often thinking that building apartments in Bali it means just sipping the coconut and snapping the Instagram photo. And is that full story?
Well, that's what you see on Instagram. Obviously, people coming to Bali, building an amazing house, and really living the dream. And in the middle of the jungle and things like that. But really, obviously, there's a lot of serious work involved in doing this. Dealing with local regulations, land leases, finding the good partners to work with. The climate changes, obviously, the rainy season, that has a big effect, as we've experienced, positively, humidity, and so many other things.
Well, also, let's not forget about the demand on Bali. So many now different kind of tourists here, not like it used to be here like 5-10 years ago. It's a lot of competition on the market with a lot of many different other developer who came here and basically trying to build his beautiful dream, and it's also part of the real of what we have here now.
Yeah. Well, so look, obviously, like you already know, we're not just building another apartment building in Bali, right? And yeah, you're right. People from all sorts of budgets and backgrounds come to Bali, but recently people are coming to Bali to experience luxury, and luxury is available now. And with what we are doing, we are delivering not just luxury, but a good experience with our apartment building. And that's what we've done to integrate modern facilities into Balinese architecture and culture, and deliver obviously an apartment building which will operate like a hotel, whilst still remaining, maintaining a good ROI. Because obviously, everyone who invests in Bali, they invest to get a return on investment. And this is important to people. Yes, of course, it's amazing to, wake up and look at the beach and see the waves and walk on the beach and stuff like that, and use it as a holiday home, obviously. But at the end of the day, people spend money in Bali to get a return on investment. And we, with the location that we have, the design and quality that we're going to deliver, people will get a better ROI than somebody compared to who's living almost 3-4 kilometers away from the beach, obviously. Because when was the first time you came to Bali? What was your thinking? Like, where did you want to live when you came?
Well, every day for me was like something, some new country, new new place in the world. But I remember 100%. I never thought about the ROI when I've been here in the very first time. Now, Bali, it's place, Island of God, all this spirit and nature, but each single meter here, it's ROI'd by somehow.
No, of course.
So, and the reason why I would like to touch the subject for the ROI, I really believe in all this promising from what's the other developer doing, or.
So look, me and you have properties together, individual villas and things like that. And yes, we can get an ROI. But remember when we first got our first villa, right? And we looked at how much money we were making on the first villa and how much, expenses there were. We both looked at it and we were like, this is not 20% ROI.
Well, but remember, it was villa made by locals, and basically it was already almost handover date, and so we are just entering in a good moment in the market. Now, situation is completely different.
No, of course. But what I'm trying to say is, yes, there is a good ROI possible, but the good ROI is. It takes planning, it takes organizing, and it takes real management to get ROI. you know, and the way people are being offered 20, 30% ROI, it's very difficult to get unless you have experience in the market and you have done something previously.
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
Yes and no.
Uh-huh.
Because I truly believe that here almost 90% of the construction built by expat, which means they are not used to live here before, and also they don't have experience built it here in Indonesia. And sometimes I truly believe it's better to don't have any experience in construction before you start doing something in Bali, because here everything completely different.
Of course, I mean, there's the weather conditions, right? There's also the earthquakes, right? Different types of land, rice fields that have been converted into pink zones. In Uluwatu, there's the rock, obviously, that you don't have to dig as deep. So, I mean, I believe that the Balinese people know their land better than all the foreigners that come over and build. And I think we're saying the same thing. And so for us, obviously, just to explain that, we have partnered with a very good designer who's designed the exterior of the building. The same guys who designed Bentley and Armani and Tusardi in Dubai, and they've got lots of cutting-edge technologies. But then after that, we partnered with the local architects from Bali to design the structure, to design the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing for the building, and then do the interior design. And do you remember what our initial focus was to actually, what kind of building we want to build, and what kind of style was it? Do you want to explain a little bit about that?
I remember it was completely Dubai type of shape with all like a hospital white
curves. Yeah, that was the first design, right?
Yeah, that was the very first. Well, but then we start to integrate more local vibes inside the design, and finally we have, I think, like a very good level of what's the futuristic of Bali will be in a couple of next years.
Now, I mean, obviously, I think this building has been designed by not just Balinese, but Indonesian and Asian culture integrated into the building. You remember the wood panels that have been designed that go on the walls. Also, I mean, all the material. Let's talk about the material that we're using, right? It's all locally sourced.
Which is very important, yes.
Yeah. So obviously we're doing all of that, and I think, well, we don't think, we believe that combining all of these things together will give modern amenities to people to enjoy in the apartment building, which will be operated as a hotel, but also it gives them the feeling of being in Bali. It's not a white box. It's not like any other apartment building that's like everything else that's in Bali. It's unique. And obviously the other thing I believe is our development is development that looks like that belongs in Bali.
Okay, great. Okay, look, let's just focus for something what people also interesting. For example, zoning. It's a very important subject. You, as the guy who already live here more than 5 years, do you know like a proper source of information where you can validate the type of your land?
Yes, of course. So when we got this piece of land, we contacted our notaries, and they carried out due diligence on the land, right? And once you've found a piece of land, there's application available and things like that, where you can go onto and see, it's a government-based application. You go to the land, you search for your certificate. The basic certificate is the ownership document that it says this land is owned by so-and-so person. So based on all this information, you can see centrally on an application what zone is a particular piece of land. So The zonings that I know of for residential and hotel and daily rentals are pink, which also translates to tourism. Then there is yellow, which is residential. But there's some caveats over there where it can be rented daily or not. Then there's obviously green, which is green zone, rice fields and so on, that cannot be built on. And then there is also another category that I came across, which is red, which is supposed to be commercial only. But again, things keep on changing and there's so much information out there. So usually we, as a company, we've relied on the experts, our legal team, the notaries, who do the due diligence and tell us what zoning a particular piece of land is and what are the limitations of this.
Okay, so meaning that, to summarize, if you are just arrived to the Bali and want to buy your piece of land, you have to go to the notary, and only notary has access to the specific database or application where they can check the specific land. Yeah.
I would say notaries will be a true source of information because that's what they do. Okay. But apart from notaries, there's a lot of consultants, but it's knowing who to trust. Right? So the reason why we trusted a notary is because we had a previous working relationship with notary, and also, but yeah, notaries is usually the number one, a good source of information for something like this.
Fais, usually when people start to build design from the scratch, they are trying to focusing about the material which they can use it for the construction. And since here we in Bali, I really like all the local materials like a bamboo, especially maybe black bamboo. Also, I like the halang roof because under this roof you feel like a lot of the nice oxygen, and it's very traditional. Same like as limestone, very quite often use it in the constructions. So why we don't take all this material into using our project Address Bali?
Well, so we do. Parts of it we do, parts of it we don't. So, I mean, obviously to start with, we're building an apartment building, right? Yeah, and we're building it to last. So alang roof needs to be replaced every 10 years. And we're building a building that will, last for as long as it can exist, obviously, right? Also, limestone. We are using limestone, but I think you would have seen limestone on a lot of the Balinese houses and restaurants where they use this outside as a decoration. Also, another place limestone is used is actually on the roads. So once the roads are made, limestone is filled, compacted, and then obviously on top of that, whatever other material is put on. And then about bamboo. So bamboo also has a shelf life if it's used outside, and it needs to be replaced every so often, obviously. So because of that, we are using bamboo. We're using a lot of wood engravings in different places, and we're also mixing bamboo with wood to create the splashback behind the beds and things like that. But the main thing is, obviously, we partnered with a leading Indonesian architect to design the interior of the building. And by doing so, the brief that we gave him, obviously, was that we need this to be a modern, timeless Indonesian hotel apartment building in Bali that makes people feel like they're at home, they're in Asia. So obviously, based on that brief, a lot of the stuff has been designed. And yes, we have bamboo. We don't have any alang-alang, unfortunately. But maybe on our next project, we'll use alang-alang.
Yeah. Well, curiously, also all the people use ironwood in the project. It's like ironwood epidemic in the Bali. Everything supposed to be terrace, furniture, everything. What do you think about this trend?
Well, so look, it's a beautiful. So I like wood in general. I like putting wood together with stone. I like the way it looks. It gives the concept of luxury. And we are using ironwood in our building as well. By the way, a lot of the furniture is made with ironwood. We're not using ironwood for flooring. So the way we're using ironwood is actually for the furniture. Okay. So chest of drawers, the wall panels, even some of the furniture is made with ironwood. So ironwood's traditional name, actually, do you know what the traditional name is for ironwood?
No?
Ulin.
Ulin.
Yes. And then there's two types of ulin. So there's old ulin and new ulin. So the old ulin is usually the black wood that you see. Remember, we went to buy some for one of our houses for the terrace to the warehouse and stuff. So that is old ulin, then that's further treated and stuff. So we're using old ulin to give this rustic feel to some of the furniture. We're using this as accents to complement the design rather than it being the main feature.
I see. And how about the teak?
Teak?
It's also kind of ironwood.
I don't know. I think teak is one type of wood and ulin is another type of wood. So we're using teak as well in a lot of the furniture that we have. There is obviously a lot of wood that we're using. The main structure is made with concrete and steel, obviously. And then the items that the materials that you're talking about, these are all for the interior, for the furniture, for the fixtures and fittings and so on. But yeah, we're using teak as well. Teak is a very good wood as well. It depends how old it is and how it's used and where it's used, obviously.
Okay, well, since we slightly start to touch the subject about the design, in my definition, luxury design is not just how things look like, it also how they sound. And also, for example, window, it's supposed to be nice looking, and it's also noise isolation, and it's created like a microclimate inside the room. So what you can tell about the window which we use in our project?
So we're using premium quality windows. You can't say the brand yet because we're discussing with multiple brands to get a really good quality window. So one thing you actually missed is also weather protection, right? Because that's very important, especially in Bali, especially for a building that looks like ours. We've got a lot of windows. We've got the windows at the front, we've got the windows on the side, because obviously it needs to be economic so that we don't use as much electricity. It needs to be energy efficient and stuff like that. So we have two suppliers that we're speaking to right now to finalize the material and the quality of the windows, not just the windows, but also the frames and the glass and so on. I mean, in Europe, normally there's a term called double glazed windows, which usually has two glass windows and stuff, and the thickness of the glass and stuff like that. So we are going to be using very high quality windows and doors in our building, which also has weather protection and sunlight protection, so that the inside cold obviously stays inside, and the outside heat doesn't come inside. So that's something that's very important. And obviously, not just the windows, and yes, let's look at it this way. When you see a guy walking on the street, and he's wearing a Gucci hat and Prada shoes and very expensive brands. It's just brands, and that's all you see. That to me is not luxury. Well, actually, that to us is not luxury. It's how the whole thing comes together and makes a look, and then how it makes you feel. So I think that's what we're focusing on Address Bali, to make the best material come together, but also how they look together. And that's how we're achieving a good standard of building, but also a good standard of design.